Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the B&B podcast. This is episode 120. Look at that. We're back for another week.
120.
Yeah. As you can tell, we're not alone today. Brody and I are joined by my friend Kyle. Kyle? Not Kyle. Travis. Listen, he's on the podcast so much I forgot who was here, okay? You're Kyle now.
I'm Kyle.
Kyle, you look different. Kyle, how's Bracken this time of year? Fuck's sake.
Oh, it's boring, lonely. The 5 people here. It's your typical Saskatchewan.
I'm joined by my friend Travis today. Not Kyle. I should just edit in a fucking clip of Kyle.
Real quick for the intro.
But no.
Okay, that was the best intro. Right
there we go. That's how often Kyle's on for us. So, yikes. No, this is not Kyle. If you guys can't tell.
No, I'm better. Kyle.
This is
you can call me.
Yeah,
because instead of being from just Bourne, Saskatchewan, I'm talking to you live from British Columbia.
There you go. He's Mr. Worldwide.
Yeah, we have deer here. Walk by my window every freaking day.
Okay,
give me a heart attack.
Funny story. You can leave this in. So one of the mornings was like I woke up at like 6. I went and had a coffee in the living room, and it's just turning light outside, and I see this fucking shadow run by the deck, and I'm like, it's a fucking deer.
It really is scary when you're just not expecting anything. You just see something move. It's like, oh my god, what's that? I'm like,
I was kind of hoping you weren't going to say, like, you looked out of your bedroom window and saw a deer right next to your window, because I'd be concerned on how it's flying, like, 12 feet in the air, but...
That'd be impressive.
Yeah. So, for those of you who don't know, Travis and I went to the same camp as Kyle and I, and, well, we all went at the same time, multiple years.
Back in World War II?
Yeah.
World War II, yeah.
Back in the good old days. Back in my day. But yeah, Travis is back. He was on the podcast previously. We had a little chit chat. I think it was just about, what fictional characters we would go see if we had the chance.
Like who would? Well, I just want to go back, touch on that briefly. Someone I want to add on to that is alive, that I'd love to just have a night out, just playing video games and eating pizza with. Naoki Yoshida, director of Final Fantasy 14. I just need to put that on because I forgot to say that last time. So
fair enough.
Yoshi P.
If none of you said Ryan Reynolds, I'm gonna be very upset.
No one said Ryan Reynolds, actually.
You're focusing on the dead. I don't think Ryan's dead. I hope not, anyways.
Yeah, R.I.P. Yeah. Every man in the world would fucking cry.
National Men Cry Day was just Ryan Reynolds' funeral. But yeah, it's been a while. Brody just kind of met Travis like about 20 minutes ago.
It's
the first time. It's the first event. It's like I'm not gonna finish that analogy. So how you been? I mean, it's been a while. I mean, I've talked to you outside of the podcast, but how'd the move go? How's the new place?
Busy, yeah. Really busy, actually. It's because pretty much it was foxhole to foxhole. It's pretty much right as my one summer job working in the Maple Creek tourism area. As that was kind of going down, I applied for a job up in BC for forestry, and I got that within like a day, like after the interview. And then so pretty much for the next month, I was planned to move up here, and then worked in 2 weeks, and then unfortunately I got laid off because of like seasonal conditions, because you can't really be out in the field much. And I think it might have been good for my health because of my right after my first week, I almost got crushed by an ATV, so that was fun.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Eventful.
And then, so right now I'm actually going to be starting a new job. The nice thing about is people are hiring all the time.
Yeah.
because I got 2 part-time jobs lined up. One at Chapters Indigo, and the other one is at The Source. Which that one was actually funny because that one was just the other night. They pretty much just phoned me and just like told me you're hired. It's like there's no interview or anything like that. It's
Fair
just
enough.
like they're that desperate
Yeah.
and just like, yeah, just come in.
Yeah.
You'll see how it works.
Nice.
If we don't like you, we'll fire you. But pretty much what I got from the gist of it. She's like, yeah, we're just gonna wait it. Just this guy on his resume seems nice. We'll just hire him. It doesn't work out, and it's
can't complain with that.
so yeah, and yeah, I have to work retail, but with these jobs, at least it's not like working food where if you get an order wrong, people will complain and cry.
Yeah.
So yeah, things just went. Yeah, the last month was very hectic.
Yeah, sounds like it.
But how's everyone else's life going at the moment? It's
Hectic doesn't describe how busy life's been.
yeah,
It's been wild.
Yeah.
And it's only gonna get worse.
Like I've been saying to Brody, it's crazy how much has happened this year. I mean, yeah, we've had to be stuck inside again because of all this COVID nonsense and shit. But you know, like start of the year, I was still in my social work program, which I'm not planning on going back to. I was still working at Rona, the hardware store. Fuck them. I said that in the last episode, and we're gonna leave it in again, and hopefully my new bosses don't think badly of me. And like we were still in our old place at the time, and summer hit and we moved, but like this year I kind of forgot how much shit happened because it just happened so fast.
Exactly. It's like we're like 2019 felt like it felt like ages ago, honestly. Like it really does. When everyone says like, "Oh yeah," like before, like at 2020 or 2021, I was like, "Oh yeah, that was only last year." I'm like,
Yeah.
That was last year. That felt like 10 years ago.
What do you mean? Like, yeah, I don't know. I feel like every year is starting to feel like almost quicker in a sense. I don't know if that's just us getting old or what, but
I think it depends on what you're doing.
Yeah.
Last year, I think being like me, my whole thing was I was that guy that lived with their parents up in the attic, and that felt like went for ages. And then yeah, things kind of went fast. And
yeah,
well, okay, this month didn't go fast because when you start 10-hour day job, yeah, things kind of like they're very slow.
yeah, definitely.
But
so, how's it going, boys? Are we prepped? Are we ready?
Oh yeah, we're prepped from day one.
I don't know.
I don't know why I said
We've
that.
got
either of those.
We've got our warm up segment done. So, what are we talking about today, boys?
I'll find the topic. Don't worry.
Hold on, just
This is so scuffed. Listen,
I don't remember what the actual topic was.
you could have
like the full.
You could have just spitballed. It doesn't need to be word for word.
We're talking about video games that are either dog shit or good.
basically what the topic said. It said pretty much games that were very like you're really hyped for that that were very like hyped up. They're like, oh, this is game of the year, and then they're either disappointing or just underwhelming. Which is actually for me, this is actually a very perfect time for that because one of my favorite franchises of all time just released a new game, Shin Megami Tensei 5. And tomorrow I'll finally get to play it because GameStop didn't they took a while to release, or they delayed the pre-order. So because I ordered the physical copy because collector's edition, and then funny enough, then next month is the new expansion for Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker, which I'm also hyped up about. So that's why it's a really good time to talk about hype. Like both those games, I'm not worried about sucking because one with Final Fantasy XIV at this point, the Creative Assembly 3, they rarely seem to fuck up.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of just threw this in here because I don't even know what game it was that released when I put that, but I'm pretty sure there was a game that kind of sparked the idea of like letdowns and shit, because I feel like companies are so stretched for time now because everyone's like, oh, it's a new year, it's a new game. Like, where's the next release? And
I think I know what game you're talking about. Are you talking about Cyberpunk 2020?
it could have been actually. I think it was around that time.
because
But yeah, and I feel like I don't even think it's just companies anymore. Like the fan base, a lot of it comes down to like investors. Like,
it's everyone.
well,
It's honestly,
yeah,
I'm gonna blame everyone.
yeah, it's definitely like a whole problem that involves everyone. I just feel like because investors have so much money on the line, they're more likely to be like, just get the game out. Just get the game out so we can get our sales in and shit like that. So,
because on the topic, like going back to like Endwalker, the new Final Fantasy 14 expansion, that got delayed. And thank God a lot of the Final Fantasy 14 community is very understanding, because when the director announced it, he was like almost on the tears of bawling. He's like, I've let you guys down. And he's just saying the game needs to be polished, so we need to delay it. And you have a lot of people who are just like, yeah, go ahead, delay it.
Yeah.
Like, if it's not ready, it's not ready. And they have some people like, oh, no, this ruins all my plans. I'm like, well, now let's go back to Cyberpunk 2020. That game could have been amazing. Like, I loved it, actually, because I was able to actually play it. But it would have been so much better if people just stopped bitching about the delays. It's like, okay, would you rather... It's like developing a game is like cooking. Would you, like, you're hungry, would you rather take out the roast right before it's done cooking and have it raw?
Yum.
It's the same thing. So that's kind of why some of those games are. And then you look at, and the funny thing is, a lot of games that actually end up having a comeback. Let's say No Man's Sky. I've heard No Man's Sky is actually really good now, despite how terrible of a release it had.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So it's really comes down to it is just what I'll say, because I don't want to take up too much screen time for these two, is if it's delayed, it's delayed. That means it's not done yet. Like, you extend a deadline because so the product comes out finished. It's like it really benefits no one if it's unfinished.
Yeah.
One thing, instantly gonna get hate from maybe not people in this call, but the fact that every single Call of Duty, every single Battlefield has been the same for about a decade and a half now. That like nothing, there may be like, oh, a new gun, oh, a new perk, but they're the same fucking game inside and out for over a decade, and they still make their money. Like, the new fucking Call of Duty is $80, and they have their 10+ million people buying it,
and they're already like Game of the Year, fucking everything. So
they don't deserve any awards.
What Call of Duty really should do is they really should just go the whole like live service thing. Just each year, just have like a big update or something like that. Just because that's how I think a lot of games work out. With the, like, for example, one game I've actually gone into is Genshin Impact, which I've actually liked a lot more than I thought I would. I thought I'd give it a try, and yeah, like, they pretty much told you, like, oh yeah, these are all the story, like the updates. We'll give you new places and all that. So it's like, yeah, this game's supported over years, but you still get new content and all that. So I honestly think a lot of games now in the online set, like Call of Duty, should move more to that instead of the whole pump out release every year, because then it does become disappointing. Like the Assassin's Creed games, those were the latest ones are kind of disappointing because they just felt like, oh, well, it's just now they're doing the gimmick of the open world, and they kind of gotten rid of what made the original game.
Yeah,
so
they definitely don't feel like Assassin's Creed anymore.
No, like, it's really them trying to be Witcher.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah,
like, especially Valhalla. Like, I get like the whole, oh yeah, like it's set in like England and Norse, so it kind of is the same thing. But the gameplay, it kind of just feels like I'm kind of playing The Witcher here. I don't like making that comparison because the Norse, like the settings they've chosen, are actually really interesting to explore.
Yeah.
Another game that was a huge flop, speaking of open world stuff, would definitely be the new Fallout 76.
Yeah.
God, that game was fun to play at launch to try it, to see what there was new, but there was no content behind that game, not in the slightest. And the fact that they try to push out like viable servers, that made no sense to me.
Yeah, now that how long did it take them to release an update that finally add NPCs, so it's more like single player friendly?
It's way too long. The game was long dead by that point.
Yeah,
exactly. Because the whole thing is what it sounded like is when I played it, it was more fun because there's other players, but then if you played it when all these other people, because not everyone's going to stick to one game forever.
Yeah.
Then it becomes really boring. It's like, oh my god, it's like 5 people in like a room of like 200 or something.
Yeah.
Like that.
Well, I just feel like companies have gotten so lazy because it seems to always be these giant corporations that have no reason to release like an unfinished game like Fallout 76. I mean, I'm of the mindset because 2 of my favorite companies are mainly Naughty Dog. Like when they release a game, I know it's going to be good because they delay their games constantly.
Oh yeah, you can always trust Naughty Dog to have a stealth a finished game. Like I have my mixed feelings about Last of Us 2. And that was more on the right. Yeah, exactly. That was more my opinions were more on the write-in stuff. I just considered the story to be lazy, and they just went the easy route on stuff. But the gameplay and like the atmosphere of Last of Us 2, that I'll praise.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like it's a solid game, and I think pretty much everything that Naughty Dog releases is a solid game. Obviously, there's critiques and people disagree, and it honestly does come down to public opinion, what they liked from the first game. And, with such a success with whether it's Uncharted or The Last of Us or whatever, those are fucking big games to follow up. So there's really no chance you're going to create something better, especially when the fans love it so much.
Exactly. That's why I didn't like Last of Us 2 story, because it came right after the first Last of Us, which was incredibly well written.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, I feel like it, for me, it's like a mixture of we made one great thing. So, we could probably pass this off as a sequel, and it'll most likely do well, not as well as the first. But, I mean, that's a lot of pressure to be under, too, to follow up with something that's better than the first game, because you don't want something that's like worse, which happens more often than not, I feel.
You can, like, a lot of games are like that. Like, you think back, I'll go back to Call of Duty. You think back to the originals, Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops 2, like all the massive ones that made the Call of Duty franchise. Like, it's hard to top those because they were so perfect. Everything was well-rounded, and then Black Ops 3 came out. It was good. And then Black Ops 4, worse. And then Vanguard and Warzone, it just kept getting worse and worse because they were just appeasing to what the minority wanted, not what the majority wanted. And
I mean,
downhill.
Cold War, I'll stop right there. Cold War actually was pretty good. Like the story. Yeah, the story was actually, I don't know, that was, because Call of Duty, I've gone on and off. It really depends on like the setting. Like, for example, like the Cold War, I'm like, heck yeah, they're going back to Cold War. They're going like early 80s. I'm like, I definitely want to go check that out. And then it was like before some of the other ones, like the more futuristic ones. Like, I never touched Black Ops 3 and 4.
Yeah. Like, Advanced Warfare literally was the whole meme Call of Duty game that everyone shit on.
Yeah.
Even the own devs shit on that game. It was so goddamn terrible. But like, that's with a lot of games though. Like, Battlefield's the same way. Like, if you look at whether it's multiplayer or whether it's campaign, they each have their strengths. But like, starting with Battlefield 1 to 2 to Bad Company, it starts off great and then there's just a decline. But apparently I have yet to play the new one. I've heard it's really good, but...
Well, and another thing with that whole company is, and it's not just them, obviously, everyone who created a new game in the last few years has had to have a fucking battle royale in it, and it's such a fucking cop-out, and they're all the fucking same. Like, I mean, there's differences, obviously, between, like, Apex, Warzone, Fortnite.
Imagine if Fortnite released a new game every year. Oh, God.
Epic Fortnite 2, I'd find somebody to kill for that.
Yeah.
Somebody made a deal with the devil. But that, like, every fucking like multiplayer shooter, I'll just put it that way, seems to have a goddamn battle royale now.
Yeah, because didn't Fallout 76 just released
Did
one?
they?
I think.
Oh my god.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
And see, the one thing Battlefield did good with his new game is Battlefield 4 had a BR, where this one has a completely different game mode that's like Escape from Tarkov.
Yeah.
So they said, fuck the Battle Royale, and tried to make something new-ish with a little bit of ideas, something else. And I think it just released the other day, and everyone obviously loves it so far. So praise to them for that.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't find the Battle Royale whole gimmick that bad, because I quite enjoy, actually, the Battle Royale to an extent. Like, the whole... Yeah, it's not about getting the most kills. It's more about surviving.
That's your
like
Brody.
one tactic.
And that's your me.
Yeah. I don't know, because I just find there's more actually strategy involved in battle royales than, like, say, team deathmatch. Like, okay, whoever has the most kill. And no, in battle royales, you can pretty much sit out the entire game as long as you're well hitting. It's like, it's the real life Hunger Games.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that I dislike battle royales. Like, I don't play those types of games because I'm trash at them. But it's not like I have a problem with them making a battle royale. I just think it's lazy. I just think it's a cop out now. Like, it's just a way for them to make money. And like, if you're going down the Fortnite route, you're just releasing a new skin that's gonna cost you a shit ton. Go grab mommy and daddy's credit card, and it's just it's such a cop out for money. It's no different than loot boxes that EA rolled out or whatever, or Rockstar being terrible for microtransactions. It's the same fucking thing. If you're gonna cop out and just pretty much copy paste something, like, at least don't be that fucking bad about it. Like, at least try and hide it a little bit. You're not just copying and pasting something over. I mean, I get it. If it works, but like, it's just lazy.
But Potter, that's literally been the gaming industry for like the past 10 years. Because back in the 2010s, like, FPSs were the shit. There's always a new FPS around the corner. And then the later 2010s, then it was the open world. Everyone was releasing, every single game had to be open world. Now it's the whole, every game needs to have a battle royale and like loot box and like free to play loot box gotcha transactions.
I
whatever.
mean, I get that. I just feel like if you're gonna do something, at least be more creative with it, because obviously, like, as a service to everyone, like, you got to kind of create your own ideas and be a pioneer rather than a follower, because otherwise, what's the point of playing games if they're all going to be the exact same?
Exactly. Like, that's like that is the point right there, actually, is that, yeah, like, you stand out more if you're doing something different. Like, let's look at Death Stranding. Like, at the actual topic, that was a game I was incredibly disappointed in.
It had potential, but
I think the thing is because Kojima tried something new, and if that was for people, if people enjoyed what he did with that game, good for you. I didn't. I hated the fetch quests so much.
Yeah.
Like, when I found out, like, you're doing all these side missions, like, wait, there's no story reason whatsoever. It's just to build on this. I'm like, screw that. I'm not doing the freaking side quest. Like, screw these. And I just continued off the story.
Yeah.
And like, that game was, it was pretty much, unfortunately, that game was pretty much only hyped because of the names behind it. It's like, oh, Kojima's making a new game. It's like, okay, well, should I be excited? Like, what's it about? Is it a new Metal Gear Solid 5? And, okay, and then go back to games. I was very disappointed in Metal Gear Solid 5 because that was unfinished, and everyone praises it like, oh, it's the best thing ever. I'm like, no, it really isn't. It's not what I played Metal Gear for, like the sophisticated storytelling, the amazing boss fights. It's just, oh yeah, open world. And here's Kiefer Sutherland. It's like, we didn't bring back David Hayter because then we just spent all our money on Kiefer Sutherland, so he only has a certain amount of lines. It's like,
yeah. I mean, I feel like companies do cut corners in that way, because they're like, oh, we have, like, Death Stranding, for instance. Oh, look, Norman Reedus is here for no fucking reason. Here you go. And then everyone's like, oh, that looks sick.
Dude, literally the freaking Mario movie cast announcement. When I saw that cast, all I could think of is like, they really just hired those just so they could say that big name so people can see that. It's like, because I would think, who thought like, oh yeah, let's get freaking Chris Pratt as Mario. Like, I like Chris Pratt, and I feel so bad for the guy because everyone's bashing him right now. It's like, well, he just got to make a job. Blame the devs. I always blame the developers and the producers. Like, they're the greedy ones. Don't blame the people actually getting paid to do the work because they're pretty much, they have their ideas and the producer's like, no, that's not going to give us money. And then it backfires.
That's one thing that kind of sucks in any industry is when it turns from like actually wanting to provide a service to how much money can we make off of this?
Yeah, that's why I honestly like a lot more the Japanese companies.
Yeah.
Like, because at least their developers there sounds like they get a lot more creative freedom than they do in like the East or not in the West. Because BioWare was a good company. Imagine if BioWare had the freedom they did before EA took over. Because another game I was disappointed in, Mass Effect Andromeda.
Yes.
Brody agrees.
Like, yeah.
Before EA made, okay, let's make this was instead of making this like a story-based cinematic adventure, just make it a, guns shooting, blazing everywhere. It's like, but that's not what people played our games for. That's
big example is the difference between Mass Effect 3 and Andromeda. Mass Effect 3, I fucking loved that game. Campaign, multiplayer, and then Andromeda, I played it and I'm like, okay, this sucks.
Exactly. Like, the worst part of 3 was honestly the ending, but the whole journey up to the ending.
Yeah.
It's not like when people shit on Mass Effect 3, it's like you only shit on one part. Like, the rest of the game was good.
Oh yeah.
Like, because there was so much payoffs to all these like stuff that was established. Like the Kieran the Krogan, you hear about this through the entire like previous 2 games. And and then back then that was kind of a pioneer in itself where your choices mattered. Like, oh yeah, if you save this research in the second game, a character survives in the third one. If not, they die.
Yeah.
Or like my personal favorite was the whole retaking the Quarian homeworld. Sorry again, Wayne. It's carried away.
What?
Input, Brandon, you look bored.
No, I was just listening. I haven't played the Mass Effect series either, so
like the first 3 Mass Effect, the Mass Effect trilogy is a very solid trilogy. I personally think 2 is the best. But that's my opinion. Don't need to go saying out loud. And people understood that was actually a quote. That's a quote from Mass Effect 2 that I use all the time.
Yeah. Another company I find that's kind of went down as 2K. Like, BioShock started off really good as one example of a game, and just they shouldn't have killed that series. The series had so much potential. But like how they ended it with the new one just kind of ruined it. They didn't leave room to go back and make another game where they easily could have.
That was Infinite that was the last one.
Yeah, and Infinite was a solid game. Like I loved Infinite, and I don't know, like same with like Borderlands 3. Like after it was released, you don't really hear hype for it anymore, and like Borderlands 3 definitely didn't create the shockwave that 2 did.
No, but Borderlands 2 is unbeatable. No matter how many games they make that everyone thinks will be better, BioShock 2 or not BioShock, Borderlands 2 will forever be the best one in the series. Yeah, I loved 3. I have way too many hours in that game just for like the farmable part of it, where I'm looking at BioShock, but yeah, like Borderlands 3 has that farmables where the second one didn't, so there's more time you could delve into that.
Yeah.
Oh, exactly. Like, because I honestly felt Borderlands 3 was a little underwhelming, but I think that is to expect, like you said, because when it comes after 2, it was the same with pre-sequel. Pre-sequel was underwhelming as well. Like, literally everything that came after Borderlands 2 was underwhelming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's sad because it's like how do you top that? Like it's
and it sucks from the devs' perspective too, because they like put hard work into it, and maybe they don't realize the mistakes they're making at the time. I mean, yeah, that's why they have playtesters, and yeah, that's why they delay, and yeah, that's why they have early access and shit. But like sometimes it just happens, so I kind of feel bad for them in a sense. But AAA titles should definitely not be unfinished at the very least.
Yeah, exactly.
One of my biggest letdowns of like any game that I've played, which Travis, you probably know where I'm going with this. Kingdom Hearts 3.
That was one of the topics I wanted to bring up.
I have loved Kingdom Hearts since I was little. My sister is the one that introduced me to it when I was like 6. Always loved those games.
Disney World was how I was introduced to it because they had a commercial for it too. I'm like, oh my god, this game looks so cool.
But yeah, like it's one of my favorite series. I have it tattooed on my arm. How do angles work? Yes, those are 2 keyblades.
Oathkeeper and Oblivion.
Correct. And 2, my favorite, as with most people, I think is 2.
2's the best.
Yeah.
One.
If you have a different opinion, fuck you.
Exactly.
But no, I love that series.
My favorite was Chain of Memories.
Oh, fuck no. But like, and again, Square Enix, they're a Asian developer, so I expected more, especially since 2 was so good. Like, it was just lazy writing again. Like, okay, I'm gonna summarize the game up.
Good luck with that.
No, I'm gonna summarize like the gameplay, not the fucking storyline. That's too convoluted.
Okay, good. You don't do that.
No. So you play as the main character Sora, and it's pretty much, go do this, go do that, go do this, go do that, go do this, go do that. No story development until the like final hour. That's basically the game, and it was terrible because the writing on the rest of the games are so good. Even if the gameplay was lackluster or they changed the gameplay completely, there was always a solid story, and that's what you could always rely on. And then they just dropped the ball.
I will defend that final act though. There were so many payoff moments that got me hyped. Yeah. Like, for example, when the Lingering Will shows up to fight Terra North, I'm like, oh my! There was just so many moments at the end that made me, oh my god.
Yeah.
But a lot of it makes me think, how much was Disney's involvement? It's like, gotta have Frozen.
That's the thing.
Can't explore this new world. You gotta build Olaf the Snowman for 5 minutes. It's like,
up the mountain, down the mountain, up the mountain, down the mountain.
Yeah, like even then, what they should have done is do what 2 did is get to a midpoint and then revisit the worlds again or something like that. Like add more information. Like there's so many characters. Like one thing I want to know what happened that was like that 2 left off. What the fuck happened to Cloud and Sephiroth?
Right? There was no FF in that like at all.
Exactly. They're not even mentioned.
No.
It's like they just ditched out. It's like, okay, canonically they're in Smash. Right?
Yeah. I mean,
that's my whole theory is at this point, Sora went Cloud and Sephiroth went to Smash Bros. And Sora followed suit after.
Yeah. It's the only
and knowing Tetsuya Nomura, that would be canon.
Yeah. I mean, I'm almost curious if the reason that it did so badly is just because they took so long doing it, they had to put something out.
Exactly. Like I think a lot of it, I don't know. Like with what sounds like with Square Enix is they've probably made some bad decisions. Like they have really talented developers, but I think as like their producer wise, because with a lot of Nomura's games, I think they just put him on way too much. Like Kingdom Hearts 3, Final Fantasy 7 Remake, Final Fantasy 15, and pretty much only one of those was pretty much praised godly.
Well, and it's hard for that company specifically, I think, because there's so much intellectual property they have to borrow from Disney, and they have to make sure, is this okay? Is this too violent? I can't kill this character off, but can I hit him with a large-ass rock and pretend he's dead? Apparently. But like, there's so many check boxes that you need to fill out for like a company like Disney. It's the same thing for like any Marvel game that comes out or any DC games that come out. I mean, whoever's producing that game is like has a line to follow, and if they don't follow it, they're fucked. So
exactly.
Because
honestly,
I will never.
I'll
never claim KH3 as my favorite, and I'll never say it's a superb game. It's not a bad game. It's just not up to par with what the others were. Even after KH2. Yeah. Birth by Sleep was a fantastic game. 358 had a fantastic story. The gameplay was a bit weird for a Kingdom Hearts game, but shit also, yes. So, like, I don't know. They didn't have it really any reason other than probably Disney.
Yeah, my biggest plot problems with 3 is they made it like, oh yeah, the final battle, the end of the saga. Mm-hmm. And then throughout the whole thing, like they just put in like new plot points, like Leah, like Axel and Syax's friend. It's like, why didn't you mention this character earlier? Just like you dropped her right in the middle of the finale.
I mean, if we want to talk about storyline, we'd be here for fucking 10 years. Yeah, exactly. So we'll close that off.
I don't know, like I have a love-hate relationship with Nomura because he's a very talented art director, and there are some story ideas he has that are good. But then I really think the man just needs to have someone. He needs a partner. He really needs a partner to tell him, like, no, your idea, that's kind of way too dumb. Yeah.
Keep him in check.
I think he's definitely the guy that thinks like the Star Wars prequel trilogy is a art house masterpiece.
Yeah, that was my biggest one. The only other one that I think probably might get some hate from me, and it's not that I hate the game, is Red Dead 2. Don't come at me in the comments. Obviously.
Okay, I'm driving to Medicine Hat. I'm gonna
Here we go.
I'll be there in like a few hours.
I love the game. Don't get me wrong. There's just some things that I felt like were letdown moments. The characters, I love the characters. They were great characters. Great characters.
Good.
Very good. The soundtrack was amazing. Graphics were amazing. The storyline just kind of felt empty at some points to me, like filler almost.
That's a good point. Yeah,
I
mean, it's a Rockstar game. It's
yeah, that's also true. I love the open world. It was very good. They kind of, I feel like they fucked up with like some of the intricate systems, like the hunting. I didn't really enjoy as much. It didn't feel like worth it, honestly, other than to like unlock shit, and it felt like that's kind of why they added it, was to unlock shit again.
Yeah, I'm gonna raise you a question. I'm assuming you've never played it, but you mentioned you didn't like the hunting and shit. Have you ever played Far Cry?
No.
See, it has this. That's where RDR2 pulled its like hunting and shit. That you like upgraded your quiver, you upgraded your ammo pouch.
Yeah.
That was pulled from Far Cry. Where in Far Cry, it's actually very important.
Right.
Otherwise, if you don't do your hunting, you fuck all.
Yeah.
So like, where in that sense, in Far Cry it's necessary, but I've never played RDR2.
I mean,
I don't know.
It's not complete.
Exactly.
It's not
like Far Cry. You need the survival aspect.
It's not necessary. I mean, it's just kind of for achieves, I guess. Yeah, I preferred it in RDR1, and the storyline for RDR1 was really good as well. So there are things that they improved on. Obviously, been a long time.
You can't beat the classic of Red Dead Revolver.
Oh yeah, that one, the best game in the series. Yeah,
fuck, that game is ancient.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't. I'll preface by saying I don't think it was a disappointment, that game. I just feel like there's things that they definitely were lazy on. But again, Rockstar. So
yeah, like my controversial opinion, I effing hate the story of GTA 5. I hate the characters in that game so much. the only reason I play that game is for the multiplayer and just kind of it's one of those games you just goof around. But yeah, it's like I loathe the characters in that game and the story.
See, like, I also don't like the GTA 5 campaign because I compare it to GTA 4. I loved the GTA 4
GTA
campaign.
4.
Was
Yeah.
so much better.
Oh, Nico Bellic was such a better main character.
Oh, for
It's
sure.
like, oh yeah, he has a good reason to be like one. It's like some of them I kind of like. I liked Franklin's whole thing. It's like, oh yeah, he kind of wants out of the whole crime thing.
Yeah.
But then you have characters like Trevor, just like, why is it this guy's a sociopath? Like, why this is literally a villain? Like, why do we like this character? This, like, I really did not hesitate to pick the ending where you killed him.
Wow.
Trevor's the embodiment of me in a character. If I was in a video game, it'd be Trevor, hands down.
No, you don't want to be Trevor. Like, I don't know, because
I like the heists; they were cool. But
That
was about the only good part of the game.
Yeah, the heists were a lot of fun. That's the only thing I liked about the whole game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like, well, my thing is, I don't know, I just wasn't really much of a fan of, like, I just don't like the crime culture and like I hate the ghetto talk. Like, I don't know, I did like the crude humor in that. Like, if I wanted to play a better, for me, if I wanted to play a better story where you're playing like a crime story, I'd play the Yakuza games because you're actually playing a generally good hard person who's a criminal, and pretty much everyone in that story, like everyone you fight in that series, comes down to two people: these honorable warriors that you like don't agree with their ideology but you respect, or these absolute scumbags that you really just want to put in their place. It really balances out like between the whole thing, like and the gameplay in that is way better.
We should just go back to 1v1ing people in public.
Kind of. It's
no,
like it's
actually. I'm saying in real life we should go back to just 1v1ing people in public.
Yeah, we should. I mean, we should go back to the whole thing where it's like, it's like back to where if you want to sell things, just send a giant, massive army. And
I don't have any armies. Sorry.
You can just send me.
Yeah, just send Brody as Trevor.
Yeah, I got this.
Brody Phillips. I don't know. Like, sticking with the thing, like the only Yakuza game I've been disappointed in was Yakuza 7, and that was because I wasn't a fan of the JRPG combat they put into it, which makes sense for the character because the main character in that one is actually me, where in his mind everything's a JRPG, and it's hilarious.
You mentioned crude humor, and I had to be a good honorable mention. Duke Nukem.
Oh boy.
If you guys have ever played Duke Nukem,
Nukem forever.
I love the game. Fucking horrible. The humor, the best. Like the story to Duke Nukem made no sense in the slightest. But the amount of tits and swear words in that game made it a game. It was awesome.
I don't know. That's probably a game I'll never play, honestly. Because the only thing I know about that is the freaking like the Sharpie board.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't like crude games and all that. Like where they're like swearing all the time or whatever. It's like it's like, okay, you're just doing that just to get that M rating. Like I don't like add crude characters, but also like kind of split it out. It's like. That was my problem with GTA 5. Like, pretty much everyone except for, like, say, Franklin is a terrible person. And it's like, I really, like, how you're really making me fail. Like, I get the whole, like, I'm all about having character flaws, but with that, it's like, I really don't see anything actually good about them. Like, Witcher 3, good example. Opposite of a disappointing game. One of the best written characters is the Red Baron. He is a character that you really don't know how you feel about him, honestly, because he is kind of a piece of shit, but he's also a guy who's admit that he's done wrong, is trying to change his way, and you're really stuck in that, like, do I really hate him, or do I kind of like him, or am I? But I don't want to like him. Like, it's a really that's how you do a character, honestly, is you make them human. It's
give them some redeeming qualities.
Yeah, like they're a piece of shit, but there's like part of them, like it's like, well, they can be so much more. Like they're redeeming.
Yeah.
Like that's why like even Cyberpunk 2077. Like I personally love that game, the story. Like it was the reason that was disappointing is I think for a lot of people is one, they expect it to be GTA, and I went into Cyberpunk knowing exactly what I wanted. It's like, yeah, these are from the guys who made The Witcher. So it's like first person Cyberpunk Witcher, kind of more like, yeah, you're more role playing, while everyone was expecting, I think, more, oh yeah, we're gonna like drive stuff, we can like blow shit up. Keanu Reeves is in it. It's like, well, that's kind of not what if it was from Rockstar, yeah, but it was like CD Projekt Red, which is a good company. Like they got screwed over big time, and they really did not deserve all that hate because they actually proven time and time again they can make good games. And what happened to Cyberpunk was more it just came out when it was undercooked.
Mm-hmm.
It makes me sad.
It is a shame. Anyways, any closing notes, fellas? As I probably wrap her up here soon.
Oh yeah, sorry about my ramblings. I'm way too passionate into stories.
That's why you're on the podcast for conversations. And
I know, I just don't want to feel like I'm like talking over you because I saw your tweeter, your tweeter. Your tweet today about people talking over you, and then that's the thing I hate about Discord is because of the delay, you end up accidentally talking over people.
Yeah, Kyle does that a lot.
Well, it's Kyle.
Like a lot.
Yeah.
No, that tweet was about other people, but I pretty much said I hate when people talk over me and just ignore what I was saying. So, yeah, I mean, I had some stories to keep us talking, but I don't think we need it because we're at about 46 minutes here.
I'm sorry I took up the whole time.
Oh, no, we were all talking a lot. But no, it was good. Good discussion.
Well, thanks for having me on. It's always a blast.
Yeah. Anything you got in closing, Brody? No?
Not really.
All right. Yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Let us know in the comments of the YouTube video what games you felt were underwhelming or, overhyped and then was just a massive letdown. Yeah, leave a like on the YouTube video. We got like 10 subs now, so that's pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Yeah. Well, the milestone of 10 subs. Give us our 10 sub play button, YouTube.
Yeah, what the it's gonna be made of wood.
It's just a PNG of a fucking play button.
Yeah.
But no.
I mean, how much of them are bots, though, is the thing.
I don't think any of them are bots. Most of them are family, so.
Family to begin with.
Yeah, so go show some love there, because that's our newest platform that we're reaching out on. Other than that, Brody will tell you where you can find us on social media.
Yes. If you want to get a hold of us in any sort of the means, like Brennan mentioned, the comments on YouTube work. Other than that, our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Main two being Facebook and Twitter, at least for messaging. Other than that, you can get a hold of us. Actually, not getting a hold of us. You can watch us on YouTube. You can listen to us on Spotify. I feel you staring into my soul, Brandon. I always mess up again. What is it? YouTube podcast. And that's it.
Say Apple Podcasts?
Yes.
Okay. Then yeah.
Well, I thought there's another one. I'm like,
no,
they're not anymore.
No.
Other than that, we have merch on Redbubble. If you want to buy some merch, that'd be cool. Or we have a Patreon with different tiers. We'll work on the rewards for those tiers eventually.
There are rewards there.
We'll work on delivering the rewards eventually.
Well, people actually have to, click the button to join first. So go do that.
Yeah.
Give me $1.
It'll incentivize Brandon to get to work.
Yeah. Sure. We'll go with that. Yeah. I mean, as always, thanks for the support, guys. You seem to like the guest episodes, so, blow this episode up, make it more, give it more views than the one you gave Kyle. Just to incentivize Kyle to work harder at being
Yeah,
Kyle.
it's because you got better guest speaker than
Oh,
There we go.
I'm gonna send this clip to Kyle, and then we'll bring both of them on, and we'll have like the
I
giant
will always
debate.
shit on Kyle. Like, I love Kyle, but me and Kyle have a very complex history.
Full of love, hate, betrayal, romance, everything in between. Yeah, anything you want to plug while we're closing here?
Not really. Like pretty much the only thing I have is a YouTube channel that has no videos, but for some reason I have more subscribers than you guys do. No offense.
Don't subscribe to Travis's channel. Sub to ours instead. There we go.
Sub to my channel if I have videos, which I don't. Because
there you go. And we have videos, so I'm just saying.
Yeah, I have a bunch. Yeah, a bunch of videos I made years ago, but I just never edited it. Just
who needs editor? Just throw it up, raw footage.
yeah, it's like
that's why
I have like a terabyte. I have like a terabyte of unedited video.
That's why Brody doesn't edit.
Exactly.
But yeah, as always, thank you for the support. Definitely go check the YouTube channel out, blow that up. Putting quite a bit of effort into that. If you guys follow it, you'll notice that we've now got ending credits slide on our videos. So fancy.
Nice.
Yeah, we definitely do. Yeah, I've seen that.
Shut the fuck up. Yeah, we're trying to go more professional, but it'll come slowly, you know. Still a new thing for both of us. Yeah, we're professionals.
Oh, with a T, yeah.
Yes, professional. We are professional people. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you to Travis for joining us once again.
Yes,
maybe next time you're on, I'll remember your fucking name. But until then, thank you guys so much for listening and watching, and we will see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Take care.